GhastlyGarlic Episode 21. The Whisper of the Kuntilanak. The ancient wooden door creaked as Rama pushed it open, the sound echoing through the deserted house. It was a relic from the colonial era, abandoned and forgotten, standing at the edge of a sprawling city. Legends whispered that the house was haunted by a Kuntilanak, the restless spirit of a woman who died in childbirth. Rama, an investigative journalist, had heard these stories from his grandmother. As a child, he would listen wide-eyed as she recounted the terrifying tales of the Kuntilanak, her voice trembling with fear. Now, as an adult, he sought to uncover the truth behind these legends. "Siti, are you ready?" Rama asked, turning to his companion. Siti, a folklorist, adjusted her camera. "As ready as I'll ever be. We need to document everything, Rama. The world needs to know about this." They stepped inside, the air immediately growing colder. Dust particles floated in the dim light filtering through the cracked windows. The house felt alive, as if it was breathing, watching their every move. "Look at these," Siti said, pointing to the walls. Symbols were etched into the wood, protection symbols meant to ward off evil spirits. Someone tried to keep the Kuntilanak at bay. Rama snapped a photo, feeling a chill run down his spine. Let's hope they succeeded. The first night, they set up their equipment in the main hall, the heart of the house. Cameras, audio recorders, and infrared sensors were placed strategically to capture any supernatural activity. As night fell, the house seemed to come alive. The temperature dropped, and an eerie silence enveloped them. Around midnight, they heard it, the soft, melodic singing of the Kuntilanak. It was faint, almost like a lullaby, but filled with an unmistakable sorrow. The sound grew louder, closer, as if the spirit was approaching them. "Did you hear that?" Siti whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Rama nodded, his heart pounding. "Stay calm. We need to capture this." The singing stopped abruptly, replaced by a chilling silence. Then, they saw her, a figure in a flowing white dress, her long hair obscuring her face. She moved with an ethereal grace, her presence both beautiful and terrifying. "Rama, she's here," Siti breathed, raising her camera. The Kuntilanak vanished as quickly as she had appeared, leaving them in a suffocating silence. Rama reviewed the footage, his hands trembling. They had captured the spirit on film, her image flickering like a ghostly apparition. "We need to find out more about her," Siti said. "Why is she haunting this place?" The legend of the Kuntilanak. The next day, they ventured into the nearby village, seeking answers. The villagers were hesitant to speak, their faces etched with fear. But eventually, an old woman agreed to share what she knew. Her name was Ratih, the old woman began, her voice trembling with age and fear. She was a beautiful young woman, kind and loving. But tragedy struck when she died giving birth. Her child was stillborn, and her husband, driven mad with grief, took his own life. Ratih's spirit could not rest. She became the Kuntilanak, seeking revenge on the living, especially men. "Why this house?" Rama asked. "It was her home," the old woman replied. "She died here, and her spirit is bound to this place." The villagers tried to ward her off with those symbols, but her anger is too great. Rama and Siti exchanged glances. They had to delve deeper, uncover the full story of Ratih and the events that led to her tragic fate. Unveiling the past. Back at the house, they combed through old documents and photographs. They found letters written by Ratih, filled with hope and dreams for her future family. But the final letter was different, stained with tears and despair. She had written it on the day she died, begging for forgiveness, blaming herself for the death of her child. She was in so much pain, Siti said softly. No wonder her spirit is restless. As they pieced together Ratih's story, the atmosphere in the house grew heavier, more oppressive. The nights were filled with strange noises, footsteps, whispers, and that haunting lullaby. The Kuntilanak's presence was palpable, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded within these walls. The encounter, determined to communicate with Ratih, Rama and Siti decided to conduct a séance. They set up a circle of candles in the main hall, placing Ratih's letters and a photograph in the center. Holding hands, they began to call out to her, their voices trembling with fear and anticipation. "Ratih, we know your story," Rama said. "We understand your pain. Please, show yourself. Tell us how we can help you find peace." The temperature dropped suddenly, and the candles flickered violently. A gust of wind blew through the hall, extinguishing the flames. In the darkness, they heard the soft sound of crying, followed by that haunting lullaby. "She's here," Siti whispered, her voice shaking. A figure appeared in the center of the circle, illuminated by a pale, ghostly light. Ratih's face was visible now, twisted in sorrow and anger. Her eyes were dark voids, filled with an unimaginable pain. "Why are you here?" Ratih's voice was a whisper, yet it echoed through the hall. "We want to help you," Rama said, his voice steady despite his fear. "We want to understand your pain and help you find peace." Ratih's expression softened for a moment, then twisted with rage. "Peace? There is no peace for me, only endless suffering." She lunged at them, her form shifting into a monstrous apparition. Rama and Siti were thrown back, their bodies hitting the floor with a sickening thud. The room erupted in chaos, furniture crashing and walls shaking. The Kuntilanak's wrath was unleashed, a fury born of years of torment and sorrow. The ritual. Desperate, Siti remembered a ritual she had read about, one that might put a restless spirit to rest. They gathered the necessary items, holy water, incense, and a piece of Ratih's clothing they had found in the attic. They prepared the ritual in the main hall, the air thick with tension and fear. As they began the ritual, chanting ancient words of peace and forgiveness, the Kuntilanak appeared again. Her form was more terrifying than ever, her screams piercing the air. The house shook violently, as if it were on the verge of collapse. "Keep going," Rama shouted, his voice barely audible over the cacophony. The ritual seemed to be working. The Kuntilanak's screams grew weaker, her form flickering like a dying flame. But just as they thought they were succeeding, something went terribly wrong. The candles blew out, plunging them into darkness. A chilling silence followed, more terrifying than the screams. Then, they felt it, a cold, malevolent presence surrounding them. The Kuntilanak's voice echoed in the darkness, filled with anger and sorrow. "You cannot save me. You will join me." The air grew thick, suffocating. Rama and Siti struggled to breathe, their vision blurring. They felt themselves being pulled into the darkness, the Kuntilanak's grip tightening around them. The aftermath. Rama woke up outside the house, the first rays of dawn breaking the darkness. He looked around, disoriented and terrified. Siti was lying beside him, unconscious but alive. They had survived, but the experience had left them shaken to their core. The house stood silent, its windows like dark, empty eyes watching them. They knew the Kuntilanak was still there, her spirit more powerful and vengeful than ever. The ritual had not freed her, it had only made her stronger. Rama and Siti left the village, their minds haunted by the horrors they had witnessed. They published their findings, but their story was met with skepticism and disbelief. The world was not ready to accept the reality of the supernatural. Yet, the experience had changed them. They could never forget the pain and sorrow they had felt in that house, the chilling presence of the Kuntilanak. They knew that one day, they would have to return, to face the spirit they had angered. The legend of the Kuntilanak lived on, her haunting presence a reminder of the darkness that lurks in forgotten corners of the world. And as long as her story remained untold, her spirit would continue to wander, seeking revenge on those who dared to disturb her peace. Epilogue. Years later, a group of paranormal investigators ventured into the abandoned house, drawn by the tales of the Kuntilanak. They set up their equipment, eager to capture evidence of the supernatural. As night fell, they heard the soft, melodic singing, a haunting lullaby that echoed through the halls. The temperature dropped, and an eerie silence enveloped them. One by one, they disappeared, their screams echoing through the night. The legend of the Kuntilanak claimed more victims, her spirit forever bound to the house, her vengeance unending. The story of the Kuntilanak remains a chilling reminder of the power of the supernatural, a tale of sorrow and revenge that continues to haunt those who dare to seek the truth. And as long as her spirit roams the earth, the world will never be free of her terror. In the end, there is no escape from the Kuntilanak. Her story is a testament to the darkness that lies within us all, a reminder that some spirits can never find peace. The house stands as a silent witness to her suffering, a place where the line between the living and the dead is forever blurred. And so, the legend lives on, a chilling tale that leaves us asking for more, a story that refuses to let go. The end.
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast. If you enjoyed our exploration of ghosts, mythical creatures, and urban legends, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling episodes. Until next time, my beloved listeners.